Hi everybody, Norman Van Aken here, back with one of my treasure books from the treasure book series. This one is called Morimoto, The New Art of Japanese Cooking. Morimoto. Yes, it's true. Here, I'm going to read you the blurb on the back that when I say it's true, you'll know what I mean. This was said of him. Morimoto is a rock star, an icon figure in Asian fusion, an original atop a heap of imitators, and like a rock star, one of the only chefs, maybe the only chef, who needs just one name. Who do you think said that? You're right if you said Anthony Bourdain. That's what he said, and he's so right. This book, I looked online today, and this book, I'll tell you the price that you can have this book for in a minute because it's crazy. Let me show you the book first. This is a first edition and it came out in 2007. But the thing about it is that so much of what makes him so great is technique. And technique, it doesn't come and go like a passing fashion. Technique is technique, whether it's French technique, Chinese technique, Japanese technique. Come a little closer, camera lady. I'm gonna do a little reading here real quick. After dinner at one of Morimoto's restaurants, diners often say to him, "We love what you've eaten, but it was not Japanese food." His response? Why isn't it Japanese, and why must it be? The very notion of authenticity stands on shaky ground, too fluid to be useful as a way to characterize cuisine. Things change, cultures meld and shift, and foods travel across oceans. Many of the ingredients so closely associated with particular cuisines, like chili peppers for Thai and tomatoes for Italian, were themselves at one time imports centuries ago. In Japanese cuisine as well, many emblematic foods have a foreign pedigree. Soy sauce, sake, tofu, and ramen all came from China. Many believe that tempura-style fried foods were brought to Japan by the Portuguese. Over the centuries, the Japanese incorporated these foreign foods into their diets, cultural, and culinary preferences, prodding and tugging at them until they took on new forms. Now, Japanese soy sauce is distinct from the Chinese version. Two countries adore tofu, but the ways in which each prepares it differ greatly. And one more paragraph is so good. Cuisine, according to Masaru Morimoto, is specific to time and place. Tastes, cooking methods, and technology change over time. What was once impossible is now quotidian. What used to delight is now unappealing. And diners and ingredients differ depending on where they're from. So it follows that there is not just one way to make, say, sushi. Instead, says Morimoto, there is Tokyo sushi, Osaka sushi, London sushi, and New York City sushi. Morimoto likes to say he cooks 21st century food. I think there will, should I be granted another span of years, a time when I finally do write the Fusion Cookbook. And a lot of you will not know what I mean when I say that, and some of you will. I won't go into that now, but I know that I will be doing homage to a number of people in gastronomy that will include people like Nobu and Morimoto, because I think it's just so fantastic. I think what Morimoto has created is so exciting and remains that way. We were at his restaurant and I had a yellow highlighter, I guess, and he does, and I marked this one item down here, newspaper smoked salmon beggar's purse. Now, when you name something like that, newspaper smoked salmon beggar's purse, it's like, that is, I gotta know what that is. I have to have that. But this is a treasure book, not just because of going to his restaurant, which was a treasure, and seeing the freezer down in the basement where he had his fish before cutting it was a revelation too. I said something about technique a few minutes ago. All right, now we're gonna talk about, I went online. The price of this book, where I buy books frequently from, is called Thrift Books, and I don't work for them, and I don't even ask for a break or anything. I just think they do an amazing job of showing And having books like this available, especially for people who are trying to learn to cook that are not making big dollars. They're studying to become better. And look at all this photography, slicing fish step by step, much like my hero, mentor Jacques Pepin did in La Technique. Beautiful full color photography, step by step, how you can do it. This is empowering. This is what makes a treasure book, the ability to empower. Tuna pizza. Janet and I went to California to the Culinary Institute of America at Greystone, and it was great to see Morimoto presenting, as I've seen him do in New York as well as California. We watched him make this tuna pizza with anchovy aioli. He writes, typical of my combining traditions, this tuna pizza is one of my most popular recipes. An instant pizza base is created from a grilled flour tortilla, then topped with tuna sashimi and a sprinkling of colorful vegetables and olives. A tangy anchovy aioli is used for garnish and extra eye appeal. I've watched my mentor Jacques Pepin do the same thing with grilling tortillas to make home-style pizzas at his home, and I, for one, would be happy to be sitting there and have Jacques Pepin make me any kind of pizza he wants. What else here? Curing fish, back to technique, back to the full color photography, showing you how to do this. Let's see, I have another one. All kinds of information about key ingredients like nori in this case. Come on. Don't want a paper cut now. How to eat sushi. I think without many people willing to admit it, many people would like the insider's track on how to go about it, because it does seem sometimes like it's a catechism of cuisine, and you want to know how the master of it would like you to approach what he does or she does. And so it's here. I mean, the price of this book, certainly, and these 2 pages alone are worth it. Oh, stocks, oil, spices, and soups, and sauces, just like in Charlie's books. Charlie Trotter, of course. Don't skip this part of the book. This is where so much of the foundation of any chef's cuisine is, in these bases, these building blocks, these fundamentals. And yes, you might see a chicken stock, but you're also going to see some things that are not in Morimoto's special spice. White miso sauce, red miso sauce, ponzu sauce, tempura batter. Tempura looks like it's easy, but it's magic. That is a magic act when it's done correctly. Now, I have to pause for a moment, talk about Morimoto at a personal level. We went to New York to see him, and I also performed at the Star Chefs Congress. And I mean, he looks just amazing. He looks just like the archetypal perfect sushi chef in the garb that he wears, but he is a funny man, and funny in a ribald sense too. And so being backstage with him and cutting up was a memory that I shall never forget. He speaking of cutting up, he had an entire tuna hanging on a giant hook over the stage there in Brooklyn for the Star Chefs Congress, and he cut that thing as it hung from the hook in the most amazing, precise, respectful way, to where nothing was wasted. It was a masterclass in fish butchery done with perhaps a show business flair, but it was not for showbiz. It was for real. We that afternoon, after he finished that, we walked outside. It was a brilliant sunny day in Brooklyn, and I guess I maybe was answering a cell phone call or something like that, and I could tell there was two young chefs kind of politely standing at a distance. And I hung up the phone, and they walked over and they said, "Chef, would you mind signing our brochure for us?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, be happy to." And I said, "What brings you here?" "Oh, we were just on stage with Morimoto. We're working with Morimoto now. We're sous chef with Morimoto." And I go, "That's tremendous." I said, "Where else have you cooked? For whom else have you cooked?" And they said, "Well, chef, I'm glad you asked because we used to work at Emeril's." And I said, "Oh, that's fantastic. Wow, that's great. You got that insight and education working with Emeril and New Orleans and all of the history of that. And now you're getting this unbelievable education. This going to be such a great span of things for you." And they said, "Chef, got to tell you a little story. When we were working at Emeril's and there in New Orleans, numbers of nights, Emeril would come out to give us the pre-service information that we'd need, not only for the wait staff, but also for the chefs." And I've been there, and there's like 30 or 40 people sitting there, quiet as a mouse, waiting for Emeril, there's general manager to speak, dining room manager to speak, sommeliers to speak about the up-and-coming night. We did the same thing in Miami, and and Charlie was doing the same thing in Chicago. At this particular nexus of time, there was a thing that we did, Charlie and Emeril and I, where we would, around 5 o'clock every night, do it ourselves or ask someone else to do it, to fax our menu with the nightly specials to their restaurants, and they would do the same thing for me. They would send me their specials. And so oftentimes I'd be reading to my team what Charlie was featuring or what Emeril was featuring, and these young chefs said, and when we were there at Emeril's, Emeril would read what your specials were for that night. And I thought, this is the beautiful thing about the hospitality business, the business of feeding people, taking care of people, is these shared experiences between not only myself and Emeril and Charlie, but the ranks, the folks who are cooking on the stations, and how the memories are created for them, and how things they'll never forget. And I don't think I'll ever forget the excitement that these young chefs had. And I wonder where they are today, and probably running their own kitchens. I'm certain that with the education they got working for Emeril and working for Morimoto, they got very qualified. And who knows, maybe they'll watch this one day and shoot me an email or an Instagram, something or another. This is a great treasure book. I hope that you will look for it online or in a used bookstore, or who knows, maybe New Bookstore still has copies. Anyway, Morimoto treasure book. I hope you'll enjoy it and come back for the ensuing treasure books that I'll be doing over the course of the next weeks, months, and hopefully years. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Take care.